Friends, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. But anyway, I should thank you for sympathizing with me and at least sitting till, till I come to the podium. You know, you should know how difficult it is for a speaker who is the last. And that's why advance thanks to you for your sympathies. Those who are studying in commerce may know about a principle in stock management. The principle is first in, first out. So whatever stock comes to the hotel first, it is taken out first, and last in is last out. No? I was the first to come to this hall at 10 o'clock. So, I mean, the whole scheme does not work according to the principle of stock management. I was the first to come. Some of you might not have come here at 10 o'clock. And I'm the last to speak. Anyway, so before you leave, let me continue. But let me also say that I have come from Goa quite a long way. And the NSUI has spent on my tickets. And I have to speak. Because I have to deliver that much bread for the amount paid. And I would be happy if you, you are with me for at least, say, if not 15, at least some 18 minutes. And then the happy news is, after that, it's all over. Education, scientific inquiry, reason, and rationality. Now, before I start speaking on the topic, since I'm getting 3 minutes more, being the last speaker, anyway, I can draw on Kanaya's time also. Okay. So 3 minutes more, and he would have spoken for another 20 minutes.
All the time you want.
Yeah. I would like to, test my vote bank in the audience first, and then speak. And that's why I would make some statements, and if you agree with me, you can just raise your hands, those who agree. The topic is education, scientific inquiry, reason, and rationality. So let's test the vote bank in front of me. Like me, how many believe that God created man, the woman, and the universe? Only 3? Nobody with me? How many believe that, like me, my dead relatives can cause good and can cause pain to me from a distance if I don't take care of them every year? Only 1. My dead relatives, if I don't take care of them every year, if I don't give them offering every year, then they can cause pain to me in some way or the other. My future depends on what I do, of course. My future depends on my education. Fine. My future also depends on the position of stars at the time of my birth. What course my life will take in the future also to some extent depends on the position of the stars and the planets at the time of my birth. Nobody agrees with me?
I'm sure a lot of them.
I should go on fast on some days in a month or in some days in a year to please my family deity. I have not said yes or no. I have said if you agree, you raise your hands. There is life after death. Good deeds take us to heaven, and bad will get an invitation to us from hell. I think your private life is different from your public life. Yes. In public, you don't want to raise your hands, but in private, you will tell me that is true, or you agree with me.
This is public posturing.
God listens to prayers and grants them if done sincerely. Correct. At least there are some people with me. So I can talk forward, that's what I'm saying. If there's nobody with me, I want to stop my talk. The Hindu God is vegetarian. The Catholic God, there's nothing to laugh at. This is my belief. The Hindu God is vegetarian, the Catholic God is non-vegetarian, and the Muslim Allah loves beef and meat. Nobody is with me? Anyway, so there is, if you are feeling reluctant or shy or what people will say to raise the hands or, that's fine. But what I want to tell you is, since morning we are talking of saffronization. Since morning we are talking of some myths and mythology are brought into education. And the education will be made less scientific or a little more unscientific. But without saffronization, although you have not replied to me, if I look at youngsters, I feel saffronization has already taken place. It's not necessary for the BJP to change the syllabus. Even without changing syllabus, if most of the youth, I'm not talking of elders and seniors, I'm not talking of your parents, but if most of the youth feel whatever statements I have made, publicly we should not say they are true. We agree with them. But privately, what he says is correct, man. But we should not agree at a NSUI conference. At home, it's okay. Then you can understand the challenge before education in terms of safeguarding scientific inquiry, reason, and rationality. And that's why I'm saying, as you listen to me, don't listen to me as NSUI volunteers, listen to me as students and learners and youth. So let me come to the topic now. To guard education, you should first think freely. And it's not that an educated man thinks freely. So if in the morning said, education will give us the strength to think freely. It's not necessary that the educated man only thinks freely. Think freely means think scientifically. Think using reason as the yardstick. Free thinking is scientific thinking. Free thinking is not wild imagination or forming lifelong opinion without thinking. Free thinking means scientific thinking. So first thing is, if you want to guard education, then start thinking freely. And as Kancha was saying, that you can't think freely unless you read. Yeah? I remember is one of the NSUI meeting or something that was held, what Kancha had said, I had put the same books on the slide, these 3 books, Discovery of India and this and the 3 books. And I said, have you read it? Nobody had read it. Have you seen the cover at least? No, they had not seen the cover also. So nobody can think freely unless you start reading and absorbing things. So first thing is, if you want to guard yourself and guard education, the worry about BJP's Africanizing education is later. The first worry is you should start thinking freely. Second, you should express freely your scientific thinking. Express it orally, dialogue, debate, theater, film, music, painting, dance, whatever it is. These are all forms of expression. Think freely, express freely, and pick up, collect, internalize modern values. Now, values are not Indian or Western. Many of us, when we talk on education, we say, oh, this education is promoting Western values, not Indian values. So we should have education which promotes Indian values. So values are not Western or Indian. Values are universal. Values are not Swadeshi or Videshi. And values are not nationalist or secular. Values are either progressive or regressive. I can categorize values only as progressive or regressive. And those which are progressive, we call them as modern. That's all. Now, why we feel this challenge has come for education? Because we feel that there may be a threat to inculcation and communication and internalization of values. Democracy is a progressive value. Fascism is a regressive value. So I'm just giving what values we should imbibe as youth. Democracy versus fascism. Tolerance versus intolerance. One is progressive, the other is regressive. Love versus hatred. Equality versus discrimination. Inclusiveness versus exclusiveness. Secular versus communal. And I'm not talking of secularism that we are practicing. Even what the Congress is practicing. Because our secularism, what we define is tolerance to all religions. Even tolerance to the intolerance of religions. Because we are secular, no, we should tolerate. Anything to do with religion, we should tolerate. Even unscientific thing of religion, we should tolerate because our constitution says secularism. So we have not understood secularism. So secular or communal, questioning or blind faith, scientific temper or blind sentiment, scientific history or mythology, factual reality or miracles, diversity or uniformity. Now, when we are talking of education today and what changes are taking place in the last 2 years and what changes we feel may come in the years to come, the threat is we feel is because of the that the regressive values may get a fillip. I'm not worried about the rural people, and I am not worried about the uneducated. Okay? Many of us from platforms, we talk of the plight of the rural masses in terms of illiteracy and ignorance. Thinking that since we are going to college and university, we are not ignorant and we are educated. Just because we are going there and marking our attendance, but not reading anything. Because we assume that the rural people who don't go to school and college, they also don't read anything. That's what we assume. And we also don't know that the rural people or people who don't go to the college, they learn a lot of things on the street and in the market, which that also we have not learned. Because since we are going to college, we don't want to go to the field and the market. So we don't want to learn through the community also. With much of our past. Because now we are talking of bringing past into curriculum. So India must break with much of our past and not allow it to dominate the present. Our lives are encumbered by the dead wood of this past. And all that is dead and has served its purpose has to go. Because our main worry is what food we should eat, what we should not eat, when we should eat, how we should eat, with whom we should eat, with whom we should not eat. And that's what we call as religion and ritual. You know, main concentration is on nutrition or is on our menu of the afternoon. Night menu can be anything. The afternoon menu has to be religious. Now, when Nehru said this in Discover of India, he also gave a word of caution. But that does not mean, he said. When Nehru says, India has to break with the past, but that does not mean the wisdom of the ancients, the splendid achievements in literature and art, their love of truth, beauty, and freedom. And see the last point. Their toleration of other ways than theirs. So that is tolerance. Their toleration of our past generations of other ways than theirs. Their capacity to absorb other people. But we have to break with the dirt and dust of ages, get out of traditional ways of thought and living. And that is what is about education and linking it to scientific temper and linking it to scientific inquiry. Now let me just pose 3 questions and answer them and then take my chair there, okay? Just pose 3 questions and answer them. The panel discussion is on education, scientific inquiry, and reason and objectivity or rationality also means scientific inquiry. So for the purpose of this, how do I look at education? What is education? You may say, what a stupid question. Because we know what is education. It is the liberation of the human mind. It is taking a person from darkness to light. You know? So many definitions we know. What is education means what? It is studying something to appear for exam, getting a certificate and getting a job. So what is education if we want to make this as a movement that, education and spirit of science, education and the method of scientific inquiry in education. I would say education is a vehicle to move our youth to the stage of thinking adult. Followed, no? Thinking freely, scientifically, and attached to modern values. So it is for this purpose that we have to orient education, so that to make all of us thinking adults. We are all adults. Maybe we are not thinking, that's all. And here I would like to quote Nehru again. This is from Glimpses of World History. This is based on the Nehru's letters to his daughter Indira. Something between page number, I think, 683 to 93. Somewhere like that you can search for more readings. Scientific temper points out the way along which man should travel. That's what Nehru says. So there is no need to look at anywhere. Scientific temper points out the way along which man should travel, whether educated or uneducated. Okay? That's not what he has said. Those words I have introduced now. It is the temper of a free man. We live in a scientific age, but there is little evidence. This was Nehru's lament. We live in a scientific age. All of us are voracious consumers. This is what I am adding, this is not Nehru's. All of us are voracious consumers of the products of applied science. No? Now, all that is here are the products of applied science. And we are voracious consumers. We can use the same products to propagate mythology and myths. We can use the same products, to make a big noise about our pride in our rituals and dogmas and unscientific traditions. So we use the same scientific products. Yeah. But there is little evidence, Nehru laments, but there is little evidence of this temper in the people or even in their leaders. India must lessen. Lessen means to reduce. India must lessen her religiosity and turn to science. So that is how we should look at education for the future. And what is scientific inquiry? We have used that word, education, scientific inquiry, and rationality. What is scientific? I said only 3 questions and then I stop. I got this bad habit of saying I will stop. A person who wants power will always say, I am not interested in power. And then you find, he becomes the chief minister. Before elections, the person who says maximum times, I don't want to be anybody, I will only work for the party, that is the person who becomes the chief minister. So what is scientific inquiry? Scientific inquiry is a little different from science and technology. Computer is technology. Computerized horoscope is not scientific temper. Followed, no? So we may say our horoscope is computerized now. What development we have achieved? Computerized horoscope I am getting, not altu faltu. So computerized horoscope is not scientific temper. But computer is technology. So there's difference between technology, science, and scientific temper. Now, science in itself is a revolution. It is a peaceful revolution. See, science has revolutionized society, socially, economically, in each and every way. Science in itself is a revolution, and people with scientific temper are revolutionaries. In the morning, Professor, I think, Mohan said that Constitution envisages a social revolution, not a transition. And our Constitution exhorts us to be revolutionaries. I just add to what he has said. People with scientific temper are revolutionaries. Bhagat Singh, scientific temper. But you know Bhagat Singh as a revolutionary, I think, all of you know, very good. Because freedom struggle, he gave his life. Bhagat Singh was a person with scientific temper, free thinking, scientific thinking. He wrote the book, Why I Am an Atheist. And nobody talks of that. Bhagat Singh means Jindabad, Jindabad, Jindabad. That's all. Over. I know Bhagat Singh. We know nothing of Bhagat Singh. So he was a free thinker. So when Bhagat Singh is projected, nobody projects this. Why I am an atheist. It's free thinking. Baba Saheb Ambedkar wrote a lot, everybody has said. But he was a free thinker. He told the people, do not waste your life in reforming religion. Discard it. That's the best way. Why you are wasting your life in reforming and repairing religion? Just discard it, no? You will be happy. See the thinking. So these examples I am giving you just to tell you what is the meaning of free thinking. Free thinking is logical, scientific thinking. And education should make us free thinkers. And this free thinking results in free expression later on. Now, a lot of things have been said about Vinayak Swatantraveer Savarkar. That he is the ideologue of the RSS. And we don't like him for that. But interests eliminate now sometimes the revolutionaries. That's how your comrade Pansare, Professor Kalburgi and Dr. Naren Dabolkar, the murders. Now I said I will ask 3 questions and I will stop. Yeah, but I am stopping. Nothing. I am stopping. Just 2 small submissions which will take 1 minute each. That is how you have to market yourself. 2 small submissions which will take 1 minute each. The second submission, the first I made was education falls short to educate the educated. The second is scientific inquiry and scientific temper combined together is secular nationalism. This would be good for you because you want this only, the final product. No? Scientific inquiry and scientific temper is secular nationalism. Because you are only secularists, no? So let us be nationalists. Because science is secular. Secularism is not secular. The way we practice secularism is not secular. But scientific secularism would make it secular. Science is secular. Science is universal. Science is progressive. Science is self-corrective. Science corrects itself. You prove something wrong and science says, okay, then that is right. And after 5 years, you prove that is wrong and science says, okay, the other thing is right now. Okay? We can progress as people only if we adopt scientific temper in our day-to-day life. Without scientific temper, blind tolerance in the name of secularism of all religious dogmas, rituals and traditions will make the clergy, the godmen, the swamis, the imams more powerful than the scientists, the intelligentsia, the media, and the politician and the government. Understand that. Unless we use the rod of scientific temper, just because of secularism, we keep everything out. This is not our area. This is God's area. This is religious area. We are secular people. So that is untouchable for us. Now this type of extreme secularism, because then they start running the community on sentiment. And the sentiment is used as a weapon to murder truth and facts. I tend to agree with Romila Thappar that mythology is magic realism. Mythology is not bad. It is magic woven into tales. It cannot be used to dismiss scientific history and rewrite fake history. That's a different matter. But mythology is not something to be scoffed at or to be thrown out. It is tales. They are neither real nor unreal. It's some kind of a magical spell. The last submission, 1 more minute and I leave. The welcome signs for a progressive modern India are found in many positive events. I told you earlier, I don't want you should leave this hall with a negative mind. That does not help. So my last submission is positive. There are many positive events which are taking place in our country in terms of education, scientific temper, and rationality. Scientific temper and science weakens religious dogmas and rituals, if not dislodges them. Now, many of us may do dogmas and rituals. I don't give any value to that, but I'm just doing it. First, we used to give a lot of value to that. Now we do it through shortcuts. We demand shortcuts from pujaris, and we do it through shortcuts also, whether it is marriage ceremony, death ceremony, or death anniversaries, or whatever it is. What I mean to say is, that means something is there in us. Something is there in us. It has weakened. Religious dogmas have weakened if they are not dislodged. The Indian Constitution exhorts us to be the torchbearers of scientific temper. And development, economic and social, challenges unscientific traditions through women empowerment, inter-religious and inter-caste mixing and marriages. Followed, no? Urbanization dilutes the regressive values. Don't worry, it's over. But not to clap till I tell you a story, and you have to clap after that story is over. So, no, just one story, yeah. This is the story of a crow and a cuckoo. We all know crows. Yes. They are good birds, no? Good, yeah. Because they view nests. Nests you have seen of crows. You have seen? Yes. In Delhi you don't see them. In Goa there are plenty on the coastal belt. So they view nets. They view nets. They work very hard. And that is why crows, hard workers, really hard workers. And then the cuckoo comes. Cuckoo doesn't do any work. Cuckoo only moves here and there and sings. And then they will lay the eggs in those nests which are knitted and viewed by the crows. And then the cuckoo goes to foreign lands and says, "Pehli baar maine aisa kiya, pehli baar maine aisa kiya." You follow what I say? So what I mean to tell you is, whether it is UGC or IITs or FTII or CIC or National Council of Historical Research or NCRT or NBFC or CSIR or Navodaya Vidyalayas or Baba Atomic Research Center or ISRO, these are the nests viewed by the Nationalist Congress Party. And the cuckoo goes on a foreign land. But the cuckoo can go on a foreign land. I have no objection to that. He should only ensure that he should not destroy the nests, that's all.